There we are.
Yeah. And yes. So, greetings, Internet. I don't normally get to do this part, um, but I get to introduce everybody. How is everybody today? How is the Internet? I hope the Internet is well and is tired of slapping memes. And that's all I'm going to say on that subject. Uh, Welcome to the greatest place on the internet that you can come to every Thursday between the hours of 9 and 10 p.m. Eastern. Within that very specific window, this is the place to be, and you can't get anything better. And I say that with knowing full well what our topic is tonight. So, welcome to the American Sci-Fi Classics Track and our quarantine panels. I am your host, the lovely Gary Mitchell, and joining us today, I'm going to start and go in a clockwise or counterclockwise. Shaun, introduce yourself to the internet.
Hey, Gary. Hey, everybody. I'm Shaun. I'm sure you know me by now on here, but if not, my wife and I run a booth at DragonCon and other conventions called Pop Cycle Bobbles. I also frequently guest host on many podcasts, so you've probably seen me around there. And this is a special favor to my boy, Michael Bailey, because years ago, I promised him if he ever did an Alien Nation panel with me, I would show up, no questions asked, and we would talk about Steel. And I'm like, I'm here for this. He's my boy. So, Michael, I'm here for you, man. I'm ready to talk some Steel.
All right. And to his stage right is the lovely and talented dog with his owner, Darren M. Bush.
So hi, I'm Darren M. Bush. I'm a science fiction and fantasy author. I also create a lot of content for Atlanta local science fiction and fantasy conventions. I've done a few panels for Gary and the amazing Joe, and I am here with a dog for some reason.
It's true.
All right. And the man of the moment, the superstar of this week, the lovely and talented Mr. Michael Bailey.
Hey, everybody. I'm Michael Bailey. I run what I laughingly call the Fortress of Baileytude podcasting network, where I have a bunch of shows where I talk about Superman and Batman and other comics and such. For years, while participating in the American Sci-Fi Classics Track, I would have to sit there. Sometimes one, sometimes more than one of the other participants and hosts would be like, yeah, I'm this and I write for this, and I'm this and I write for this. But at last, I can say I am a writer and have a essay in the third volume of Oof, Boff, Splat, the Subterranean Blue Grotto essays on Batman 66, Season 3, edited by former Classics Track participant Jim Beard with Rich Handley. I was lucky enough to be asked to be part of the third season because there's 3 volumes of the book, and I got to talk about probably one of the best two-parters of Season 3 with Lola Lasagna and the Penguin. But seriously, it's on Amazon and available on Kindle, so you can find it there too.
All right. And we are here, as was alluded to before, to talk about the greatest movie starring Shaquille O'Neal to come out in 1997.
The bar she
involving
is low.
Superman-based about Superman-based characters. Steel. Even though his suit does not look quite like steel. Anyway,
No,
so
his suit looks like aluminum, definitely.
Well, you got writer-director Kenneth Johnson to thank for that. Will never say anything bad about Kenneth Johnson. He gave me my childhood in the form of the Incredible Hulk television show. He helped my teenage years by doing Alien Nation, wrote and directed V. But Kenneth Johnson, if you don't know, does not like superheroes, which is weird because he's worked in that medium quite often. And the quote I read back in 1997 was when somebody approached him about this movie, he asked, does he fly and does he wear a cape? And when he was told yes to that, he said, no, he doesn't anymore. So the reason why all of everything that was stripped away from the comic book version of John Henry Steel, and we were given the greatest television pilot ever released to theaters is Kenneth Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So, Michael, for anyone who doesn't know, give us the breakdown on who is Steel and why do we care?
Well, back in '92, they killed Superman. And when the creators who were working on the books at the time, there were 4 Superman titles, all had their own ideas about how to bring the character back. And instead of just choosing one, all of their options were used. And Steel was John Henry Irons. He was created by Louise Simonson and John Bogdanove. And he was a former weapons designer that had a weapon called the Toastmaster, because 90s, get loose on the streets, and he decided he needed to put a stop to that. He had been working as a construction worker, fell, Superman caught him, told him to, make your life worth something. So after Superman died, he decided, I'm going to armor up. I'm going to try to fill in for Superman, and had a longevity after the reign of the Superman that I don't think anybody really expected. He had his own title for 52 issues and was part of the Justice League, and died and came back several times. He was part of the new 52, and now he's a character on the new Superman and Lois television series.
And at one point, wasn't he also part of the JLA Watchtower? Like, didn't they actually integrate his body, like part of his body? Because at one point he was like, he was basically RoboCop. He was like a torso and a head, and they just like plugged him into the JLA tower, and he was like Overwatch. He was just
wow.
There was a lot of weird stuff done with him in like the early 2000s. It was kind of hard to keep track after a while. And then he was just gone for an extended period of time. Superboy, the clone, had the longer-lived series. But actually, Steel has been my favorite of those 4 for decades now. I just love the character. And I love him so much that I bought this on VHS. I have the DVD, and somewhere in the house I have both the comic book adaptation and novelization. I think I need to be taken away, and I think certain responsibilities should be relieved of me, but I'm going to stick with that right now.
Speaking of novelizations, joining us now is the lovely and talented Keith R. DeCandido. I always mangle your name, and I always apologize. I've only known you for 10 years. Yeah, I've only known you for 10 years. I should have it by now.
You would think.
Yeah.
Hi. I'm Keith R. DeCandido. I write books and stuff. I also write about pop culture, including a formerly weekly and now biannual feature on Tor.com called 4-Color to 35mm, the Great Superhero Movie Rewatch, which from 2017 to early 2020 covered every single live-action movie based on a superhero comic that had been released up to that point. And I revisit the feature every 6 months or so because they keep releasing more of them. I actually, for the 20th century movies, basically anything prior to X-Men, more or less, I would double or sometimes even triple up the movies. So I actually reviewed together both Steel and Spawn, which actually have more in common than you might think. They're both based on characters who debuted in 1992. They both came out in 1997. They both have African-American protagonists, and they're both terrible. So.
All right. So let's then just go ahead and dig into the movie. Are you okay there, Shaun?
I banged the crap out of my hand.
Oh.
I'm all right. I'm okay. Complete accident. So I'm all right. I'm all right.
Well, Shaun, tell us, when did you first see the movie, and what do you think of it in general?
Oh my. Okay. So I saw Steel on a bet. Okay.
I assume you lost.
No. Okay. So the bet was, okay, I will pay for your entire year's worth of movies. This is one of my buddies. And I was like, dude, I go see like at least a movie a week. And he was like, no. He was like, you can't make it through Steel. And I was like, oh, I can make it. He was like, all you got to do is from opening credits until they roll that last little bit. Sit through it. And if you can do it, I will make sure that every single ticket that you buy for the remainder of the year is good to go. And I was like, okay, challenge accepted. So I sat down, and as I started to gouge out my eyes, I realized the mistake that I had made. But a bet is a bet is a bet. And you know what? I made it through. You know, I was making sure that I could absolutely get to the end of this movie. And to be fair, there are some things about it that are not 100% terrible. For instance, there is music. The music is nice. There is lighting. The lighting is nice. Shaquille O'Neal is not on the nice list. It's his best acting is when he's doing the little shoulder thing, and then the cat does the little butt thing, and then he does the little shoulder thing. Like, truly, that is his best acting. And if that is your bar, you can understand how low Steel comes into it. But yeah, I cannot stand this movie. I've seen it precisely one time, and that was 25 years ago. But again, I say this. Michael showed up for a freaking Alienation for me, and I keep my word, okay? So I am here for Steel because, and he is true, Kenneth Johnson, while being terrible at superhero movies, is actually a pretty good creative font of prowess. Like, the man, you know, we talked about this, you know, in previous, you know, panels. We've talked about the fact that he did Alienation, he did V, The Incredible Hulk. I mean, the man actually can put together something that you want to watch. Steel just does not happen to be one of them.
All right. And Keith, what about you? When was the last time you watched when did you first watch it? And I'm assuming the last time was for the rewatch.
Yeah, the last time I watched it
was there any viewings in between?
My rewatch of it, which was in 2018, early 2018. I saw it. I was really excited about the movie initially when they first announced it, right up until they announced who was playing the title character, and then I kind of went, "Irk." Casting Shaquille O'Neal as John Henry Irons is right up there with casting Denise Richards as a physicist. This is not a casting choice that made any sense at all. And of course they were aware of this, and so made somebody else the scientist in the movie. But that kind of defeated the whole point. And we lost Darren. I don't know if Darren doesn't love us anymore.
Darren had to pop out for a moment.
Okay.
Something about his super pet.
Okay. So I was still kind of looking forward to it because I love the character of John Henry Irons. Michael was talking about his history, and I was an avid reader of the Steel comic book. The character was created by Louise Simonson, who first started writing him in Man of Steel. She was the initial writer on his book as well, and then Christopher Priest took over. Christopher Priest originally wrote under the name Jim Owsley, and then switched to Christopher Priest, who also did one of the great runs on Black Panther around the turn of the millennium, and wrote a great Falcon miniseries and tons of other great stuff. And he created Quantum and Woody back in the day. He did a phenomenal job of writing Steel. It was a great book. And this movie was such a disappointment. Holy crap. I didn't quite want to gouge my eyes out, although Shaun, I get the instinct.
Right.
Mostly because
my
eyes were just incredibly wide as saucers as I'm sitting there in the theater, because I'm thinking, okay, Shaquille O'Neal as Steel. This is going to be bad. And my expectations were greatly met. Although it was interesting, watching it back to back with Spawn made it look better. Because at the very least, the movie's heart is in the right place. It's harmless for the most part. It's still.
I love watching Michael. Michael's just like slowly, like, you sons of bitches. He's like, I just needed a couple people to show up. Like, and he's just like,
but it's still about a hero. It's still about a guy who puts on this suit because he wants to help people and keep people from getting hurt. And that I give it credit for that. That's about all I give it credit for. But
hey, look, I'm just going to say this right now. if they would have had the foresight to put John Leguizamo in Steel, I don't care as who, it would have been a better movie, because John Leguizamo automatically gets you a 3 on the tomato meter, period. So on average, I think like Steel is like a 3. That might have almost gotten you up to a 6 just because John Leguizamo shows up. Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
Honestly,
who showed up in Steel? Like, seriously, Annabeth Gish, she gets crushed by a freaking concrete slab. You know, like she's like, okay, you want to talk about how tone deaf this movie is? I'm sorry, Gary. I just you gotta let me get this out of my system. I need it. I'm sorry, Michael. Again, I love you. Thank you for alienation. I apologize for the brutality that's about to occur. Okay, the way they get this movie's plot going is that Shaquille O'Neal is a brilliant weapons maker whose best friend is with him, and basically through a series of events, the white woman gets killed, and they try to put it on the black guy as him being responsible for it. So he has to go out and fight crime to clear his name. That's the plot motivation of the movie, people.
Not really.
Michael, rebut.
Well, no, okay. So first, to answer the initial question, I actually didn't see this in the theater. It was in and out of the theaters in this area so fast, I didn't get to see it. And I went to a lot
This is
of
the advantage of living in New York.
Yeah, I went to a lot of movies in the summer of 1997.
Right.
That was one of the big years for me and my friends to go. I still owe money to a friend for Batman and Robin.
Oof.
I paid him back like 10 years ago. He still says I owe him money for that. So I had to wait until I found the VHS of this. And because of who I am as a person, at the same media play, I bought the soundtrack to this movie, which is nothing but a bunch of hip hop songs. It's not like the score or anything, which I don't know, man. The score sounds like it should be like the score to Remo Williams 2. That's my big takeaway. This is not a good movie in any sense of the word. And I'm going to be completely honest. Most of my love for this movie is Annabeth Gish, because I have had a
Right, she
crush
didn't die. You're right.
on
She didn't die.
Annabeth Gish. My God, since what was that? Hiding Out. Where she played opposite John Cryer, who went on to be Lex Luthor. It's amazing how these things happen.
It's almost like it all
comes back to Superman. Absolutely. No, this film is. I joked about it before, but it's actually probably the best way to describe it. This was a television pilot that would have been on like Fox in 1996, 1997, you know, when Generation X didn't work out, they were going to pipe this one in. And
well, it would have been on the WB, really, because it was a DC property.
Yeah, well, yeah, I guess it would have been a WB pilot. What it has going for it is that the action sequences are actually fairly well executed, except the zip line thing where he's going up the building that looked like crap. But, you know, really and truly, like the helicopter crash and the other like fight sequences weren't all that bad. Where this movie completely fails is that you actually kind of like the bad guy better than the hero, because the bad guy can act. And Judd Nelson,
I'm gonna disagree with you on that, because as bad as Shaquille O'Neal was, Judd Nelson was several orders of magnitude worse, because you don't actually expect anything from Shaquille O'Neal. I actually expect something from Judd Nelson, and boy, did he not! He was terrible. He was absolutely horrible.
But wait. I'm going to give Michael points on this one, though, because he's terrible in that kind of way that 90s supervillains kind of need to be. Like he's so, he's so overarched. Like, okay, you know, a really good parallel to Judd Nelson, and he probably actually took notes from, is he probably went and he watched The Plague from Hackers, played by, what's his name? Oh, my Lord, I just blanked on his damn name. Hold on, now I gotta go look up his dang name. Hold on, give me a movie here.
Breaking news, breaking in. Hey,
Mr.
Tony.
Stevens. I'm sorry. Mr. Stevens.
I'm so sorry I'm late. But all of my super pets wanted to join us tonight, since we're our super adorable animals.
What super pets? Hold on. What?
Yeah.
Wait.
It wasn't that the topic tonight?
No, we were talking about Steel.
Yeah, we're talking about Steel.
No, we're talking about super cute animals.
Wait, we are? I have super cute animals.
Well, who do we got?
So this is Jazz, who's named after one of my favorite Transformers.
Mm-hmm.
Hi,
And
Jazz.
then behind me is Professor Zoom and Kyle.
Yes, Kyle does actually have a face.
And then behind Kyle's head is Thor. Can we see Thor? I might need it. Come here, Loki. Come here. No, Loki ran away. Here. We're gonna bring the camera to Loki.
Ran away. I'm shocked.
There's Loki. There's Loki. Say hi, Loki. And then
hi guys. Is it super
time?
I have a super Jedi, my little Anakin.
Hi, Anakin.
Hi, Anakin.
Hi. And this is Sasha.
Okay, if we're doing pets, I gotta go get mine. Hang on.
Yeah, this is come. Hey, what, you little slinky.
Thank you for bringing that wonderful little Sith Lord.
I mean, he's still in Jedi mode. He's only 2. You know, he won't hit Sith until 19. So you know.
He's not baby.
Hey, Darren, you're back.
Hey.
Hi.
Hi.
Professor Zoom, look who's on the screen.
Look, Anakin.
So our super pets are Sasha and Corday. They are both named after handmaidens from Padme's entourage because we wanted them to have Star Wars names, but we didn't want them to have like super recognizable ones. And the fun part is they got to pick their own names. So when we got Corday, we said her name one time and she knew exactly what her name was. And she responds to her name so well, except she's gone deaf now, so she can't really hear it anymore. And Sasha
has decided to leave the building.
Okay, Louis. Oh, Louis did not want to be on camera.
Oaks, can you grab Oaks?
Yeah, they're fighting me.
Who is your pet there, Darren?
Yeah, tell us.
This is Dash.
Oh, hi,
Hello,
Dash.
He's being very cranky right now. He doesn't like the camera. This one, hold on. This is Gary's arch nemesis. This is Dargo, who is named for the character from Farscape, of course.
Of course.
Because he's adorable and charismatic and has a temper.
Does he go around saying, "I'm your daddy"?
Wait, what's that you're saying? What you're saying? Gary, you're wrong about Farscape.
I've heard that.
Wait, Gary doesn't like Farscape?
I hate
this is
Farscape.
Obi-Wan. He really wants
Gary, get off this panel. What the hell is wrong
Sorry.
with you? How do you hate Farscape?
That's a whole other topic.
Farscape?
Different panel.
Gary is so wrong.
A whole different panel.
We can't be
Look, not
friends.
even Keith can save Farscape for me.
What?
Wow.
Oh my God.
Spoiler alert, I've never seen Farscape.
But
We
it's
can
so
fix
good
that.
and
You
gay.
need to. Farscape is amazing.
Yes.
It is amazing.
Did we lose Bailey, or is he getting a dog?
I think he's getting his dog.
I think he's
Lee,
going to get his dog.
Lee, who was your orange kitty?
That was Obi-Wan, but he was very vaguely.
Poor
Good
Obi.
girl.
And I had Louis did not want to be on camera.
Oh,
Yeah, Sasha, I don't know if you saw here. Let me
get Kaylee.
I'll
right.
put your face back up for a second. Let's see. Look at
all right,
look
Mr.
at this
Bailey.
face.
Also, I want to say, Mr. Bailey, this was the idea when we realized tomorrow was April Fool's Day that we had to do this to you.
Surprise!
I don't think
He
heard us.
didn't have his microphone.
Wait,
in.
He didn't have his microphone in yet. He didn't have his mic in yet.
Mr. Bailey, I wanted to
Yes.
say that this was when we realized that tomorrow was April Fool's Day, we had to do this to you. So
Okay.
happy April Fool's Day, the Legion of Super Pets. And also, we all wanted to tell you how much we love you.
Oh,
Yes.
y'all are very sweet.
Yep.
So,
So
I
when
tell
know
us
we
about your
got-
super pet.
Yeah, the
This
fact
is
that
Gracie.
the last day of March was the day before was a Thursday. The fact that this is a Thursday is just perfect.
I know, right?
This is a very good. So you're basically saying that I watched Steel Again last Sunday. For absolutely
No,
reason.
we're still talking about Steel. We just needed to do this to you.
Okay, that's fine. I'm good with that.
And if we need to throw on the pyre, I still owe you a Steel one because this was my stupid idea about we should do a giant April Fool's gag on you. And I said, Gary, can we do that? And everybody, all these people were on the panel. They were all like, I'm there. Like immediately, we're like done. Like, it took about 3 seconds to put this panel together. I was like, oh, we're gonna get them. Oh, Jesus, great. Oh,
Because we all love our super pets.
Yeah.
Right, so-
Dargo really likes the taste of Darren's face.
If I took my glasses off, Sasha, the only reason why Sasha is not more animated right now is they had to go to the vet today and get their annual checkup. So she's got her shots today. So this is her on low energy. Look at that face.
Oh, she's so cute.
She had to get a shot. Look at her. She's like, why did you betray me?
Somebody touched her butt. She's traumatized.
Cute, Sean.
Yes.
Seeing Dargo trying to eat Darren's face reminds me of sharing a room with him in Conjuration.
Conjuration.
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Dargo, for doing this thing. So, Bailey, what's your dog's name?
This is one of the three, and the easiest one to get. This is Gracie. Gracie is secretly in love. Well, not so secretly in love with me. So there was a time where she would sit there and lick my face, and my wife would be like, "Are you cheating on? Are you trying to steal my man?" And she would stop, and then Rachel would look away. I go, "Okay, she's not looking," and she would resume licking my face. And then Rachel would catch her again, and she'd stop. And then she goes, "Are you being a hussy?" And she would just go over and just give me a little lick and stop. So she has comedic timing, among other things.
I love her trying to. I love her pawing.
Yeah, she's absolutely adorable.
What a
Yeah,
cutie.
she is. She's sweet. We got another one named Mayday, who I named after the Spider-Girl character.
Really?
And it was
That's awesome.
And it was very effective when she was a puppy because she climbed over everything. Sadly,
go
I
with
guess
Mama.
I should have named her Murdoch because she's gone blind.
Oh,
Oh.
And we have another one that was my father-in-law's dog that is now ours. We have taken over Lady, who is insane. They're all crazy, just in different ways. But yeah, this one, I think she's trying to kill my wife, so that she can take over. I keep trying to tell her it's not going to happen, and she just gives me that, "Yeah, right, Daddy." So, but she was sleeping, so I grabbed her. She's a little logy right now.
And I would like to encourage everyone to please donate to your animal charity of choice.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yes.
if you are going to get yourself a new pet, please get yourself a rescue.
Yeah.
adopt, don't shop.
That's right.
Mm-hmm. Got to shut down those puppy mills.
So thank you everybody for
Yes,
coming.
yes, we do.
Now back to Steel.
Bye.
Yes. All right. Everybody say I love you, Michael Bailey.
I love you, Michael Bailey.
Nobody.
So now we're all going to leave Michael in here to talk about Steel by himself, right?
No, you guys,
No.
the haters have to stay.
I'm not going anywhere. I rushed home to do this, man.
Oh, it's a Denise.
Hey, and
Hey!
it's
Hi,
Pants.
kitty!
It's Pants. It's
Hello,
one
Pants.
of my Dragon Con kitties. All right, go on.
Yeah, I couldn't keep mine on camera for more than half a second either.
Poor Pants. I would do it with Boots, but Boots is too bougie. Boots is like, excuse you, I don't think so. That's not a thing that's gonna happen for you. So Pants is my easier kitty to con into doing things. I'm like,
Well, yes. Yes, it is easier to get into pants than boots.
This is our little luck dragon.
Well,
Look at
it
her.
depends on the boots, but
True.
and the pants.
I was
Boots and
about to
pants.
say, are we talking like tight, like metal hair metal leather pants? Those probably, you take a little to get into.
Hey!
even Sean.
What did I do?
You know exactly.
You
what
were
mean,
just
Sean.
you, Sean.
I
You
know.
were just you.
How could something this cute not love me if I wasn't adorable? Hi, Gary. Wow.
There we go.
Okay,
Gary,
yeah,
I
that
feel
was
like
that
you've
was
been
very
called
creepy,
out.
Gary. Don't do that again.
Yeah, no. No one needs me in HD in their face.
We all need Gary in HD. So
Gary in HD
Yeah.
with Dolby Digital surround sound.
there you go.
Oh, especially if I've had the chili, that's a bad idea.
We had
Yeah.
tacos tonight. I had some pastor tacos, and they
nice.
were super delicious.
Mm.
And if you don't know what a El Pastor taco is, you should go find one. You will find them delightful as long as you're okay with pineapple. And if you don't like pineapple, you should try pineapple on a taco sometime. It's really good.
I like pineapple except on pizza.
Thank
Oh,
you.
pineapple on
right?
pizza is
Finally,
amazing.
Thank you.
Pineapple on pizza is an abomination.
Look. I will tell you this. I thought it was abomination for the longest time, and I accidentally got a piece of pineapple on my pizza. And then I had the flavor combination occur in my mouth, unbeknownst to me. And I was like, what was that? And one of my friends said, oh, yeah, I got pineapple on my half. And I said, I need to try it. Like, and that was it. I was converted.
Okay.
I swore never.
So I will tell you what is a pizza abomination. No, Keith, no, pizza or pineapple on pizza is the best combination ever. But what is an abomination is ranch dressing on pizza. How dare you?
No, I think they're both abominations. Okay. You're all wrong. Anyway,
so
I think we also have to factor in the fact that Keith is from New York.
Where pizza's
right?
religion.
Home of actual good pizza, yes.
Yeah, home of
No.
See, that's the thing.
No, excuse you, Chicago deep dish pizza.
Okay,
Excuse you.
Chicago deep dish is not pizza; it's a casserole.
Thank you, Gary. Yes.
I mean,
Hold on. Look,
Midwest.
Hold on. I hail.
The religious wars have started.
I hail from New York. I am a New York pizza person. My family's a New York pizza people. But you know what? Detroit with that big, super thick crust, awesome badass Detroitness. Okay, that is my childhood because every Pizza Hut is Detroit pizza, and that's what I'm talking about. Detroit pizza.
Wait a minute. You're trying to make an argument for good pizza, and you're bringing Pizza Hut into it?
Well, I'm saying that there's this place who's actually local to here that they do Detroit pizza. It's amazing. It tastes like Pizza Hut back in the 80s. And Pizza Hut back in the 80s was legit.
Was
legit. I'm going to once again.
If Sherman, if you were on the panel, I'd kick you off.
I will point out that Detroit is in, where do we call it? The Midwest. So I cackle at all of you in Midwest. We own pizza. Thank you.
Fair.
I don't know. You see, I grew up near Allentown, Pennsylvania, where apparently every mom and pop pizza owner from New York retired and set up new shops. So now I live in Georgia, which is a cesspool of pizza, except there's a place down the street, opened up. My wife and I tried it, talking to the owner. He's from Brooklyn. He's using his Italian grandmother's recipes.
Nice.
And I was just like, I almost cried when I was eating it because it was the first good pizza I've had in like 25 years. I was like, this is right down the street.
I will take you to all the really good pizza places in New York, and and you will understand why you're all wrong about Midwest pizza. Anyway,
Michael, I believe you were trying to make a point about Judd Nelson and Shield or in Steel.
Wait, that was me. I was saying I was saying that Judd Nelson was basically channeling Fisher Stevens from Hackers, which objectively is like pineapple on a pizza. So Judd Nelson was doing his best imitation of pineapple pizza, except he was in a Steel movie. And since that's supposed to take place in LA, we now have the Western pizza argument front, the Judd Nelson. What would that be?
I'm confused with my metaphors.
Good. Seriously, if you've ever seen Hackers, like I swear, Judd Nelson was like, Judd Nelson was like, I need to find a gimmick for my villain in Steel, and like it must have come on HBO, and he was like, that's it. I'm going to be Fisher Stevens for this movie.
But Fisher Stevens was actually good in that movie. I mean, the way I was looking at my review, Nelson gave a two-dimensional performance of a one-dimensional character. Hill Harper was way more interesting. His character was actually, I didn't recognize him, honestly. I didn't realize it was Hill Harper until I was looking at the credits. It's like, holy crap, that's him. He was great.
Yeah. I mean,
and also we have to because we're already like 45 minutes into this, and we got distracted by cute pets. We have to mention Richard Roundtree.
Yes.
Stuart Rice, yes.
Because the presence of Richard Roundtree automatically makes a movie slightly better than it was.
It's
without
true.
Richard Roundtree.
Yeah,
he even made a Shaft joke.
Yeah, I was about to say, I like how the entire movie shut down for 30 seconds so everyone could look at the camera like they got paid for that day. When he says specific, I especially like the Shaft, and everyone looks at him, and a good laugh was had by all.
It's just a nice. He holds the pose, and he's just like, "Yeah, I said it."
See,
he's a bad
for a movie written and directed by a white guy. It is something that has not aged terribly in certain ways. Like, I was nervous watching it again. Like is something's going to happen, and it's going to be like, oh wow, that was acceptable in 1997. That doesn't fly now. But it actually was. I mean, for having a mostly African American cast and really the only two white outside of Charles Napier. By the way, the presence of Charles Napier makes this movie somewhat better.
Yes.
Because Charles Napier is great. And Shaun,
Yes.
just to say, if you ever rewatch this, pay attention to the prosecuting attorney at the beginning because it's George Francisco from Alien Nation without makeup.
Nice.
And
Okay. I'll
Gary
show up.
Graham. Look. Gary Graham comes back and is a cop in the lineup when they're trying to pinpoint Steele.
So are you trying to tell me that Steele is a prequel to Alien Nation?
No,
no, I'm just trying to say that Kenneth Johnson tends to hire the same people again and again and again.
He does,
yeah, that's pretty much.
Yeah, but to be fair though, the aliens landed in 1996, so chronologically in 1997 they would still be floating around in quarantine. So you could make an argument that it is a prequel to Alien Nation.
I'm going to throw this movie any bone I can to try to make it a little bit better.
No, this isn't even, and this may shock some people hearing it. This isn't even a noble failure.
Yeah, it's just a failure.
It's just a failure.
It's harmless. It's a dumb superhero movie. And it's no more. It has bits and pieces of it that are nice. Like I like Steele's. I like the family dynamic with Odessa and the kids and whatnot. That actually works pretty well. You're right. I too was worried rewatching this in 2018 that it movie featuring African Americans directed by white guy. But nothing really made me cringe the way I was fearing it would. I mean, there were all right. Shaquille O'Neal's acting made me cringe, but I knew that going.
Yeah, the scene of him lifting the thing off of Annabeth Gish. I mean, it should have been like the easiest scene to shoot, and he still looked like he was having trouble like acting in that scene. And all he had to do was lift something.
Yeah, I mean, it was probably made out of paper mache.
Right.
Yeah.
And apparently there's a scene where he visits Sparky, who the lovely Annabeth Gish plays, in the hospital. And again, an interview I read at the time, apparently Shaquille O'Neal was just asking, Kenneth Johnson, like, how do I play this? Because I think before this he had done Kazam, and that was it. And Blue Chips before this?
Maybe.
Possibly.
Anyway, if only someone had the wealth of human knowledge at their fingertips.
Exactly have a huge resume at this point.
Yeah, and apparently Johnson told him, like, you just have to act. And I'm like, so I'm sure that's what Shaquille O'Neal knew that he was supposed to do. I just think he was just trying to figure out how to emote. And apparently Kenneth Johnson just didn't want to teach him that on the spot. The only reason I can think that he was cast is the two reasons is Shaquille O'Neal was a name and he was tall. And John Henry Irons in the comics is freaking huge.
He's pretty much why the movie got made. Steele was not an A-list character by any stretch of the imagination.
And if I remember correct, my pop culture correctly, wasn't Shaquille and is still obsessed with Superman? Didn't he used to wear
Superman tattoo?
And that was prior to him doing Steel. So I know for a fact that he was like, I want to be something Superman. And so WB was like, we can make you Steel. And he's like, done. So he's like, done. And I'm mid-90s.
The way movies get funding is to have a big name actor in it, and or somebody who has a Q rating of some sort. Shaquille O'Neal was the most popular basketball player on the planet in 1997.
Right.
And when the NBA was really, significantly hot shit, and so, that was bank. And that's why he was cast, even though John Henry Irons is supposed to be a scientist.
And this
was an easy win. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Michael.
I was about to say, and this was the era where, like, superheroes that did not have like a huge pedigree got greenlit into films. I mean, we're talking, like you mentioned, Spawn got made. Men in Black ended up being Marvel's first, on paper, good, because they owned the rights to Men in Black at the time. So they said it was
because they bought out Malibu. They bought out Malibu.
They bought out Malibu Comics for their coloring process, so they retroactively. Oh, Men in Black, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, and I remember it's a Marvel comic. I'm like, did they just buy into having their first good live action film released theatrically? Was this
Not quite, because I think Blade came out first. No. Men in Black was 97, so yeah.
Yeah.
And you
Blade
had
was 98.
Barbed Wire was like a year or two before this. So it's like, conceivably, like these movies, this was the summer that killed the comic book movie for like several years. I mean, you had Blade the next year, but I think, as we've talked about on other panels, you ask the average person, they probably didn't know Blade was a comic book character when they went to go see the film. It just looked like a cool Wesley Snipes action movie.
Right.
As someone who saw the film on DVD back and owns all three movies, which, by the way, the first and the second ones are the only two worth talking about.
I disagree.
I did not know that Blade was a comic book character until really just recently when what's his face, Wesley Snipes, came out and said, I put Marvel on the map, basically. I was like, wait, what? And it turns out Blade was a comic book character. It's like, oh, well, that's a thing I learned.
Mm-hmm.
By the way,
It's true,
I disagree.
it's
I
true.
love Blade Trinity mostly because Ryan Reynolds was amazing in it. But
I mean, that's about
At
it.
last,
That's a
Keith and I
whole
agree.
other-
yes. and I
That's a
think Blade 2 is
whole
horribly
other
overrated,
panel.
It is.
But that's a
We
different
should
panel.
talk
Yeah.
about
Okay.
it, Gary.
Yes.
But
this
to go back to Steel for a second, though.
Oh, right. What
Do
we're
we have
talking
to?
What there is one piece of low-hanging fruit that we haven't talked about yet, which is the whole movie, right? Annabeth Gish, she gets crushed by the cement and whatnot, and she's she's stuck in the wheelchair, and she's kind of like their oracle to a degree and whatnot. At the end of it, she gets her mechanical legs, and they didn't put in the Bionic Woman sound. And Kenneth Johnson is literally the guy who did the Bionic Woman. You can't give me one. One? Come on. That was an easy win.
It would be, well, you see, Shaq can't make free throws.
Yeah,
like,
that was the part of the film on rewatching it. I went, yeah, that they tried way too hard for that. And that grenade, oh my God, the grenade. So for those who have not seen the film, towards the end, one of the bad guys throws a grenade at Steel and his nephew, and they have to get rid of it. And this scene takes like 5 minutes.
Right.
And they're sitting there trying to shoot it, and like the grenade never goes off. Just waits until that Shaq makes the free throw, and then it goes off. And I'm like, man, this is pushing it. I mean, I'm willing to suspend disbelief. I really am. But this like not only snapped it, it yelled broken and done and walked away Bane style.
Yeah, this cuts off the air supply to your disbelief.
Having recently just watched Buckaroo Banzai, I really feel like I need to watch Steel now.
No,
you don't.
Okay, look, there's a difference because Buckaroo Banzai is intentionally trying to be obtuse and also weird. It is trying to be that movie.
Look,
Steel accidentally found the doorway into Buckaroo Banzai's garage, stole like 5 things, left, and actually tried to go make a serious movie and didn't realize they stole Buckaroo Banzai's shit. Okay, there's a completely different vibe. I mean,
they forgot the watermelon.
I am still trying to understand why Jeff Goldblum was dressed as a Marvel cowboy in Buckaroo Banzai.
Why the hell?
Why shouldn't he be?
Okay.
Hey.
Again, we are discussing other movies another panel.
Gary, stop. No, this needs to be explained, okay? 1, everybody had their gimmick, okay? Everybody had their gimmick, and 2, Clancy Brown to this day says it didn't matter. They kept trying to make Jeff Goldblum less and less attractive and weirder in the movie because he kept stealing the scenes from everybody else, no matter what they did. There's actually there is a scene in the movie, and I just watched a documentary on this called In Search of Tomorrow, which is, if you haven't gotten into it, go buy it. Clancy Brown talks about there's a scene where they intentionally try to make him as unlikable as possible, and he steals the scene, and you can see Clancy Brown's actual reaction of just, this son of a bitch. Like, you can't, like, nobody can act with Jeff Goldblum in the room. So that's the backstory, is that they tried to give him a gimmick because all the characters have a gimmick, and his was to try to make him as unattractive and geeky as possible, and they failed miserably.
Yes. Yep. Speaking of costuming, we have to talk about this really pathetic attempt to recreate Steel's armor.
Oh, I know, right? Like, the little icon here, right, is amazing.
Yes.
That is not what we got in that movie.
No, not even a little bit. And unfortunately, 1997 CGI wasn't really up to it. And so instead we got, Shaquille O'Neal in a very obviously rubber suit.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't.
Michael?
There was absolutely no. Speaking of the lack of suspension of disbelief, I did not believe that what he was wearing was made out of metal at any point in this movie, which is kind of a problem for a character called Steel.
And I remember watching the opening credits, which is this very dramatic shot of molten metal pouring into something.
Yeah.
With again a very like 80s action score in a movie from 1997. So whatever, that's okay. In 2001, they released a live action version of Faust, which was a movie that should have been made that looked like it was made in 1990, but was released in early.
Movie.
We can't talk about that's a whole.
That's a whole
panel.
That's a therapy session to be had at another time. But I remember watching the credits and it's like Steel costume designed by, and they actually had some dude's name and it wasn't Alan Smithy. And I was just like, oh, so somebody's actually taking credit for this. No, like I said, I own this film out of obligation. And the funniest thing about it is
it's your brand, Michael. We understand.
It's available on DVD through Warner Archive. So I order it because I'm me. And I get it. And I swear to God, I'm looking at the little label that, the thing that comes with it, and it looks like something you buy at Dragon Con. Like the contrast on the photos on the back are like really orange, and I'm like, did this movie rate so low that it's just some dude in like the basement with a really crappy 90s printer that's still spewing it out, but it broke down, so he made a photocopy of one that he had lying around. Like, do you think this? And the funniest thing is, it was on HBO. It's on HBO Max, by the way, if you feel like watching it.
Of course,
but it was on one of the HBO channels, and it wasn't even widescreen.
And he's back.
It was freaking 4:3, and I'm like, what the hell is going on my television right now? I joke that this is supposed to be a television pilot. Don't make it look like it.
Because for this movie, every expense was spared.
Yes. Kenneth Johnson only shoots in 4:3. Okay, that's all he shoots in.
Because he is an artiste.
It's right. 4:3, the way film was originally made, which ironically, film really did start as 4:3. It was not letterbox. That was later. So maybe he was trying to homage to the old school. I don't know.
And this is the thing they tried to lay on us with the Snyder Cut being 4:3 on a streaming service. So yeah, I don't know if I buy it.
Yeah. Hey, but before we continue, hey Joe, how does it feel?
Rude. Okay.
I had waited for that.
So I have this thing where I watch terrible movies. The pleasure of watching terrible movies. I am now going to watch this movie. I feel I am obligated.
Okay, and Denise, you got to get back to me on this. You got to message me through Facebook. I want a live stream of you watching this film.
No, Michael, I'm going to give this gift to you. When you finish the current season of Lois and Lois and Superman tapes, Lois and Superman, yeah. You need to do this as a special between seasons episode of that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%.
But Michael. I want Allison and Bethany to speak to me again. And this is like something I've never even asked my wife to sit down and watch this. And she watched Legends of the Superheroes with me.
Oh,
so, Michael.
She must really love you.
Michael, my return to Facebook, because I've been off social media for about the last almost year. My return to social media will be a live Facebooking of Steel just for you.
Oh, I'm going to watch that. I'm just going to put it on in the background. I'm just going to be watching. I'm just going to cackle wildly. Because all she's going to do is drop F-bombs the whole way.
No. You do not understand one day I will let you all in on my Amazon movie collection, and you will see nothing but C, D, and what the fuck is that movies.
But you know, to be quite honest, I love really bad movies. And really bad movies, I mean, okay, so I take the Joe Bob Briggs approach to watching movies, which is, in general, every movie that you're ever going to see is somebody who actually tried to make a piece of artwork. They poured their heart and soul into this. Yeah. But we have empirical evidence from Mr. Superman expert himself, Michael Bailey, who said Kenneth Johnson took everything that would have made this movie work and threw it right out the window because he was like, not on my set, pal. That means I can't like it's a lot harder for me to get that love for this movie. However,
my favorite thing is that Johnson tried to claim that he created an original story for this, and the title of the story removed from the comics, but he didn't. It's the same freaking storyline.
Yeah.
It's he created weapons, they were used by bad guys. It's the same freaking thing.
Honest to God, if they would have given us the armor that we saw in the comic, if we'd have gotten that cool Destro helmet, you know, even if the face didn't move, which would have been fine. Now that we have Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man and whatnot, people wouldn't have cared. You know, just make him look like a big metal behemoth, right? And just, that would have given it so many cool points. Because even if that movie was exactly the same, him looking completely metal, having the cape, and having the rocket power freaking hammer, I guarantee you there would still be posters being sold.
Do you think they could make it now without being called? They're just ripping off Iron Man.
No, because everything DC does first is always done well by Marvel, and everybody says DC's ripping them off. Wait for Flashpoint to come out.
And if you watch if you watch the CW shows, like they keep doing Marvel stuff. Like the most recent episode. Now, I love Superman and Lois in a way that is unquantifiable. But there are certain moments, like on this past episode, where there was an effect of Jordan doing a speed thing where he was watching something go past him. And I'm like, did they just homage Tobey Maguire in Spider-Man when he watches the fist go by him? I'm like, okay, that's a weird flex. But, you know, like they put Supergirl in armor a couple seasons ago.
Yes,
and
they did.
all of the all of the vision, like the face effects, looks exactly like Robert Downey Jr. in the first Iron Man film.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is,
I don't think they're going to care. And also, especially since the character's fairly well established, you know, he's a C-list character, but he's still established. I don't think they're going to care about the comparison. And I would love to see it done again, with you know, somebody who can act.
All right, so Mr. Bailey,
John Henry Irons.
so Mr. Bailey, if they were to make Steel today, who would you cast as John Henry Irons?
Ooh, I know who I would.
Well, we'll get to you.
Yeah, no. I'm talking out loud. Ignore me.
Okay.
I would love, going back to Spawn, Michael J. White would be great in the role.
Spawn was a great movie.
No, it wasn't.
You missed that part of the discussion.
I like Spawn.
All right, see, John Leguizamo makes it better.
No, he didn't. But
yes, he did.
I honestly think the guy playing him now is doing a really good job with it.
Who's playing him? Who's playing him on Superman and Lois?
His name is Wooly Parks, and the great thing was you didn't know he was John Henry Irons until halfway through the season.
Yeah.
And when that happened, I really wish there was like a camera on me because it was almost like like I haven't gotten like that out of a show in so long. It's funny because I can't think of anybody specifically that I would want to play him. I know that he's been done so well in animation. Cress Williams actually did the voice for him in the Death of Superman animated films that recently came out. But he was Black Lightning, so I guess he's off the table for that. I don't know. It would be hard. I'm wondering more how they would bring him in without having to go through the Death of Superman.
Like, do you have suffered through the Death of Superman?
Yeah,
you're not lying. I sometimes still wake up screaming.
Spider Hill.
But But do you start it with like Superman dying and him stepping into the role? Is it something that's in the past?
You can
and
still
now
be
he's-
inspired by Superman. You don't have to have him dying for that plot point to work.
Not to mention the fact that if you, hold on, but also not to mention the fact that if you're going to make Spider-Man the hill you're going to die on, and then you reference Spider Hill and you don't put a hyphen between the spider and the hill, you're a hypocrite. You're a hypocrite.
Gary, delete me. Yeah, you're right.
That was it for Joe. He was done.
I'm sorry. Please continue with the conversation.
And you know, the weird thing is that there is a Steel reference that is prevalent throughout all the CW shows. There is an organization they keep bringing up called Amertech.
Yep,
that's from the Steel comic.
Yep.
And I really wish I had a list of the minions of Hazard, who was Steel's first villain in the book. That was every 90s cliche. I mean, I love Louise Simonson to death. That book is kind of rough to reread. It is in the early days. Once Christopher Priest and Dennis Cowan take over, it's just like a completely different vibe.
And they moved to Jersey City. It was great.
Yeah, and Natasha takes a more active role and becomes a really cool character.
And there's not a villain that's a girl in a bunny suit.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, so Steel's first villain during Reign of the Superman was called the White Rabbit.
Yeah.
She was an arms dealer.
I got it.
She was an already established character, though. I think
Keith,
Michael Jai White, unfortunately, I think would be too old to play him. My initial casting that I'm thinking of, and he's already been in the Berlanti-verse as Jimmy Olsen, is McCad Brooks.
Oh yeah,
okay.
I could totally.
Yeah,
see
he's
him.
definitely tall enough because my God, did they go through some fun body doubles and forced perspectives on the first Tyler Hoechlin episode of Supergirl to make them stand together and look like they're the same height. It's an amazing feat of editing because they showed some behind the scenes, and I love Tyler Hoechlin, my favorite live action Superman ever. Not even kidding on that. But that man's only 6 feet tall, so you're not going to tell me that he's the same height as McCad Brooks.
No.
Which they kind of tried to do Steelish with when they made him Guardian and had him armor up.
But they also were pulling in the weird Grant Morrison version of Guardian too, where like I don't know if you ever watched, if you ever read the Seven Soldiers of Victory, but here's where basically a corporation buys a newspaper and they decide that they bought a superhero and they make the Guardian their superhero, and so this cop becomes that, and it's very kind of like Jimmy Olsen kind of is very much like in that vein and whatnot. So that was kind of fun.
Wait, you're telling me a Grant Morrison story was weird?
Hard to believe, I know.
You know what? I will tell you this. This is probably one of the best Grant Morrison stories because one of the things, and I know we're up in the weeds here, is that you can actually read them as long as you read there's 7 miniseries, and there's basically an alpha and an omega comic. Read the alpha comic first, read the miniseries in any order you want to, and then finish with the omega comic, and you're good. And it's designed to be read any way you want it to be read, which is really kind of cool. But Morrison just kept doing that gimmick over and over again, and it got old after a while. So.
And if you want to read Final Crisis, you have to read every Morrison comic he wrote for DC.
Yeah, you really did.
Not to mention the fact that he literally made a point in that book to say that Final Crisis, you either show up 5 minutes too early or 5 minutes too late to every action scene, so you never know what's going on. And he wrote it like that on purpose. That is bad storytelling. Hate it. Hate it.
So,
however,
Sean, who was your pick that came?
Winston freaking Duke. That's right. M'Baku from Black Panther is my cuddle bunny, and that man's got the size, he's got the presence. If you have seen Us, he can wear the nerdy glasses. He's big, he's brawly. That dude is a star and a legend, and I want to see him in everything. Get that guy a personal trainer, let him beef up his arms a little bit. Can you imagine that dude wearing like a freaking
needs to beef up his arms?
No, because there's a great scene in the early days when John Henry is making the armor. I remember this vividly. All he's wearing is that freaking smelting apron, and he's got these big arms, and he's clang. I want to see every freaking just rivet of muscle
Okay, I don't think we can make actual humans who look like they were drawn by John Bogdanov.
No.
Yeah.
Yes, they can. They just have to dehydrate for 3 days beforehand, and then they're good to go. Which is what bodybuilders really do. Which, by the way, kids, don't do that. Drink water, okay? Water's your friend.
Yeah,
But no,
Henry Cavill
Winston
was
Duke.
Drink your milk,
about that.
kids.
Yes. Keep hydrating and gyrating.
Keep
I
hydrated,
think,
but seriously,
though,
Winston Duke.
If they were going to do it, they really need to lean into the family element of it. And it's like the one thing that this film got really right is that John, when he came out of hiding basically and reunited with his family, he had this really close-knit, grandmother, uncles, nephews, sisters. I mean, it was just, it's one of those things that I think is missing from comics these days because they don't have time for supporting casts because of how stories are paced. But he had like Natasha Irons became a hero in her own right eventually. And they did some really cool things with her, and then they did some not so cool things with her. But I think that John Henry Irons as a character was kind of like the heart and soul of all the Supermen that came during the reign of the Superman. He was the one that got the spirit of the character of Superman. And that is got to be the most important part of the movie, is that he is just this good guy that is trying to make up for a mistake. Please, for the love of God.
Sorry.
Oh, I was just going to say, don't call them Toastmasters. Please, for the love of God. Just
well, no, I mean, but you make a good point, because I was actually talking to a friend of mine earlier this week, and he was talking about the fact that he questions whenever somebody says Superman is their favorite character. And I was like, he's in my top 5. And he's like, why? And I was like, it takes an incredible amount of personal willpower to actually achieve the impossible, even if you can fly around, in the cosmos and whatnot. And Superman inspires people to do the impossible. And I started rattling off all this stuff. And Steel is one of those things, right? I mean, literally, John Henry Irons, because something so terrible is happening in his neighborhood, in his community, literally does the impossible. He puts together just a bunch of just scrap and says, I'm going to make a suit of armor, and I'm going to honor this man who's inspired me. And he goes out and he fights crime the only way he can. And it's an amazing thing. He doesn't do it because he's trying to be famous. He's not doing it because it's the right and moral thing to do as far as everybody else is concerned. It's because his friends and his family are in danger, and he refuses to let anybody get hurt. And that is a story everybody can get on board with.
Yeah.
Period. End of story. You sell that to Hollywood, and I promise you people are going to show up.
And he also, he was the only one of the 4 replacement Supermen who really got that part of it.
Right.
Superboy was a pure egotist. Well, I mean, he was a kid. He was a teenager. He was, and he acted exactly like a teenager. The Eradicator was just, completely
the 90s.
Well, I mean, honestly, he's the culture.
Focused on the whole Kryptonian aspect of it.
Yeah, he's the
and
cold,
then, of course, the Cyborg
culture.
was doing a grift.
Right.
So, the only one who really had the same purity of purpose that Superman had was Irons. And that I think that's why I was drawn to him more than any of the others. I mean, Superboy was funny at least, but Steel was the only one who I felt was really a hero for the right reasons, in the same way that Superman was.
And I love that about him. I think it's great. I think it's the absolute best way to go. And the fact that we've never gotten another real bite at him 25 years later, I think is kind of a travesty. Like, at this point, I think if they made a Steel movie, you have to put Shaquille O'Neal in it just to say, yeah, we did that, but we're doing better this time. Because I mean, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, the first thing I would have done when I introduced Steel on Superman and Lois, I would have gotten a Shaquille O'Neal reference in the first episode. I would have put. I would
get it out of there.
And that's why I'm not a writer on Superman and Lois. But anyway.
But seriously, like, I mean, this is, as much as we make fun of Steel, one of the things I always remembered, especially in 1997, was that people did not really know about this character. If you were a Superman fan and if you had followed it, you knew about Steel, you followed the show. But I remember everybody, all my friends going, who's this Steel cat? And I go, oh, well, he's this guy. He's, he was a weapons manufacturer. And then he decides that, he doesn't want anybody to be hurt by his weapons anymore, blah, blah. And they're like, that sounds really cool. I got to go check that out. And I know a lot of people who got into Steel because of this turd of a movie. They actually didn't go see the movie, but they heard about it and it got them interested in the character. And I think that is a better compliment than anything we could say to the actual movie, which is that at least inspire people to go, I wonder what that's all about. And then they went and they figured out what Steel was. And I think Steel probably allowed people to find the comic character and gave that character more longevity than it may not have had without him.
Mm-hmm. Well, and on that positive note, we're going to let Michael have the final word on Steel the movie.
It's on HBO Max, so you're not really spending any money.
All right.
That's it? That's all you got, buddy?
No, I mean, look. It's like going to All Saints Day. When you're a Catholic, you do it at it's a holy day of obligation, so you go. Like I said, I have it on my DVD shelf. I don't have it hidden or behind something. You can actually see it. I think if you want to see better Steel things, watch Superman the episodes he was on Superman the Animated Series, where he was voiced by Michael Dorn.
Oh yeah,
and the more
he
recent,
was in Justice League Unlimited also.
Yeah, and he was in the Death of Superman, Reign of the Superman animated films that came out a couple years ago from Warner Brothers. He does very well in that. That's actually probably the best adaptation they've done of that story. Because they actually tried to adapt the story. Shocking. It's not a good movie, but if you like Annabeth Gish, she's in it.
I mean, she had a job. Yeah.
Yeah, it happened.
I think this is the only time I've ever heard Steel and the Catholicism obligations tied together.
Well, I was raised Catholic.
That's what the American Sci-Fi Classics Track, guys.
But it also makes sense because remember, Steel had the gauntlets that shot out the spikes, right? And we had to spike Jesus up on the cross. So Steel is essentially, that got away from me.
Yeah, it really did.
Yeah.
Did you lose the thread really fast?
I'm sorry, Gary. When you brought Easter into it, I was like, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna say it because seriously, he shot freaking Steel the freaking nails, the railroad nails. By the way, that is forget the hammer. That was Steel's coolest weapon. Those freaking gauntlets and shooting out those railroad ties. I love that. And sorry, anybody out there who's easily offended at Jesus jokes, but I promise you, Jesus would have laughed at that. Okay, he's got a sense of humor.
Anybody who's easily offended is not watching this channel.
Fair enough.
That is true.
Yeah.
All right, so Michael, thank you so much for coming and putting up with the pet shenanigans. But yes, we love you.
I love you guys. I don't get to come out enough because just my work schedule sucks. Mine's laying on the ground because she's mad at me.
Mine's
mad because I just woke her up.
Figure Ren will feed them.
So Denise, where can people find you?
So right now, no one can find me anywhere. I have taken, I've taken a hiatus from all social media. But I will be back before Dragon Con. I'm getting the history comic back together, so you will see Candy Cane Snake teach you guys all about history here soon. But for right now, if you would like to, you can follow me on Instagram. It's not being updated, but right there is my handle on Instagram. I'm figuring out the iPad here, and I will be back, and I will be at Dragon Con this year. So I needed the break from social media to get the art back where it needed to be. So,
all right, and Keith, you're nowhere to be found, right?
By the way, I have signed my contract, so I will be back as a guest at Dragon Con. They have not put me on the website yet, but I did send the contract back. So I will be there for sure. You can find me online at DeCandido.net. That's DeCandido.
See, it's difficult.
Also, if you just search for Keith DeCandido online, I'm the only one you're gonna find. So But you can find at DeCandido.net has links to all the places you can cyber stalk me, including my blog, my Facebook page, my Twitter feed, my Instagram, my YouTube channel, my Patreon, my writings on Tor.com, and probably other places I've forgotten because I do all this stuff and I don't get enough sleep and I forget things.
And relevant to my interest right now, Keith, which Alien novel did you do? I forget.
I wrote Alien Isolation.
There you go.
That's right, you did, and it was good. I
Thank you.
like
There you
that.
go.
Yep.
Yes, I've written lots and lots of books, which you should buy every single one of them because
All
I
of
need
them.
to eat.
No. You should buy 2. One for saving, then one to bring to Keith to sign.
Or that, yeah.
Or get him sign them both. I mean, there's no rule that says he can't.
Well, then you
sign
have to
them
buy
both.
3. Then you have to keep
I
that
will.
one
I
and
will
make
gladly
position.
deface any books you put in front of me.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Not
any
even-
books, like I'm just gonna bring random. I want to bring like Martha Stewart's like cookbook. Keith, buddy, you gotta sign this for.
Dude.
Whatever. I'm not proud. If I was proud, I wouldn't be here.
That's
Thank
true.
you.
Oh, shots fired.
Sean.
You can find me on the social medias, there at Numa Z. I'm all over the place. And I guest spot on a lot of stuff. My wife and I aren't really doing any conventions right now. We are taking a long break and we're building up inventory. And the next actual convention I think we're going to be at will be DragonCon. So you guys got about 5 months and to get psyched up, and we're coming in heavy. We already have like half of a SUV. And we got a new bigger SUV now. So by the time we get there, it's going to be full. And then we're going to have like a storage container on top. It's going to be jacked. So I'm looking forward to it. And if you ask nicely, I will make a steel pop cycled pixel bit. And I will bring it just for Michael.
I want one. I definitely want one. I want one.
I will make you a steel pixel pit and be like, boom, there it is. And it'll be amazing.
All right. Joe, where can people find you?
Right
Not
here.
here. Nope, they can't find you here.
Oh!
Emotional damage.
So I did not know.
Same
that-
title this one, The Vengeance of Gary. Yes.
It really should have been The Vengeance of Gary.
StreamYard today posted their thing where you can add a co-host, and Gary told me about this, and within moments, I, maybe against my better judgment, sent him the link so that he could become the co-host. And now all of a sudden, the worm has turned, and
Oh, how the turns
The
of tables.
chickens are coming home to roost.
yes, the chickens are coming home to the crow's nest, if you will.
Nah, plucka, plucka, plucka.
You're being hoisted
Literally,
on
you're
the
drunk, Gary. It's your first show. The app hasn't even been updated with this for 24 hours. You're drunk with power, and I'm just sitting here going like, wow, like Joe
Power
in the
corrupting,
goodness,
absolutely.
right in the fullness of his heart. Joe's like, buddy,
Fullness.
here, buddy. Thank you so much for being my amazing co-host, and you just like. For everyone, you're like, Joe, I've kept the list in chronological order of how many times you've screwed me on these. just
Revenge!
nuking him.
Or as
Nuking
they say
him.
in Blackadder, Rewengi!
Yes.
Oh, shit.
So where can they find you, Joe?
Right here. You can find me every 2 weeks or every week or whenever. Right here on the American Sci-Fi Classics Track Quarantine Panels with that, also with that dude right there, Michael Bailey. And
Prodigal co-director.
And right there with Gary Mitchell, and with all of these wonderful, amazing people. Thank you for spending Thursday with us. You could also, on any random Saturday, if you happen to want to drive anywhere from 1 to 17 hours, come see me announce pro wrestling. I've only been hit with a steel chair once.
Oh,
And Mr.
Explains a
Bailey,
lot.
where might we find you?
Well, I am once again an attending professional at DragonCon, so I will be there. Yay. fortressofalitude.com, which is the home of where all my podcasts are. And I'm going to bring it up again because shockingly, another person that is on this panel is in this book. Oof. Bob Splat.
Yeah.
Subterranean Blue Grotto essays of Batman 66.
Michael Bailey
season
is
3.
in print.
I'm very happy about this, so I'm bringing
Which
it
one
up
did
again.
you do, Michael?
I did the one for the Lola Lasagna episode, Divorce, Theft, Fraud, and Gambling. So the Sport of Penguin.
I was in the first two editions of that book, and Michael, I'm so glad that you got to be in that thing. That's very fun.
I actually got the trifecta on that one. I was in all three. So
I think after I got the Green Hornet episode in book 2, that eliminated me from consideration.
Well, also there were fewer episodes in season 3.
Yeah.
I actually got to do the last episode. I did the Minerva one with Josh Gabor.
Minerva.
Which had one of my all-time favorite moments in Batman 66, where someone slams the door shut and the whole wall shakes, and they didn't do another take. They had so stopped giving a damn at that point that they didn't even bother to reshoot that because they didn't care if you knew it was a fake set.
I like on Batman 66. There's a lot of times where they're like, "Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
It's okay."
I mean, that's Doctor Who rules, right? I mean, how many times were they in like a giant, juggernaut of death and destruction, and somebody walks through a door and the wall just wobbles?
Hey, you leave Doctor Who alone. You leave Classic Who alone.
Hey, look, I call them like I see it. I love them, but
in both cases, there were budgetary concerns. I mean, Doctor Who had no budget for a very long time.
There was a guy just holding the wall up, like
most of the villain hideouts were like an empty room with something with like a rug thrown over it. I mean,
speaking of which, is my background not looking like a crazy villain hideout with like the weird angles and whatnot? For some reason, like I got this weird Dutch thing going on because you can see the giant foyer I have, which is just weird. But yes,
Dark Shadows did have those set issues, and that was a great show.
Dark Shadows.
All right, so we will be back in 2 weeks. Normally, I would say what the topic is, but Joe and I still haven't picked it yet because we're prepping for Dragon Con. At least that's the reason I'm going to give. It's probably either going to be
like September, right?
You see, but the level of our chicanery requires months of planning.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Look,
yeah.
I mean, you plan this? God, okay, that's
explains a lot.
Well, you think this could happen on its own?
Fair point.
I sort of assumed it was a halfway sentient beast, and you two were just like feeding it ideas.
Yeah.
We're
wasn't that wait. Wasn't that the plot of Terror Vision?
Yeah.
Actually, I think
we're
that's
both
the plot of Terror
Rancor
Vision.
keepers. Obviously, I'm the crying one from the Return of the Jedi, and Joe would then be Machete in Star Wars. So, thank you everybody for tuning in.
Machete don't text.
That's true. I'm going to go ahead and say, Joe, what do you say we do in 2 weeks, the 40th anniversary of Remington Steele?
Oh, God.
Nice. Let's do that.
Sweet Jesus. Really?
Yeah.
That is so awesome. I get a week off.
I'm old.
And then,
tune in.
People
tune in and turn. Oh, sorry, Joe, you're saying?
Go ahead.
No, I was saying tune in for 2 weeks when we hear Joe Crowe say.
Same battle.
This is why he always lost.
See, it's not easy, is it?
I got one. They wouldn't let me be James Bond for this.
Thank you, everybody. Good night. Tip your waitresses.
Otherwise, they'll never fall down.
All right. How do you turn this thing off?
First time.
Joke grenade.
Okay, so let's see how long it takes him to close it out now. Let's see. Hold on.
Yep, we're still going.
Still rolling. So now that we've done the official show, well, the follow-up show, no, Gary, that's
no, Gary, honey.
Don't anybody tell them how to turn it off.
So WrestleMania 2022 is happening this.
Is it this weekend? Oh my gosh, I'm so out of the loop, man. Laura and I, we took some time off of wrestling because we needed to watch some other stuff, and it was just building up in our DVR. And I was like, let's watch some other TV. And I am aghast at how quickly I get behind on wrestling. I'm like, dear Lord. So at this point, we're just out, and we're like, okay, we're just gonna have to come back in. We're just gonna have to jump back in at some point and just see what's changed
Look, if it makes you feel any better, I am way behind on all of the Star Trek shows because for the last like 6 months, I found IMDb TV, which has Classic Who, and I've been doing nothing but watch Classic Doctor
The thing
Who.
is, we have not had
Nothing.
There have not been like 4 Star Trek shows to watch at once.
Seriously.
Look, I mean,
And now, and now we're going to get basically at least one episode a week for the foreseeable future.
Yeah.
I
and
love
just
that.
barely finished the Gilded Age. Okay, I just finished the Gilded Age. Like
I am all about one episode of Star Trek a week, man. I am there for it. I'm like, I don't care if it's Prodigy, I don't care if it's Strange New Worlds, I don't care if it's Discovery. Bring it.
Yep.
Yeah, I just.
I'm especially enjoying it because they're paying me to review it.
I'm intimidated.
There is that.
Denise,
Anyway,
before I forget, because you haven't.
By the way, we're still rolling here. This is still.
We're still rolling, yeah.
Anyway,
you haven't been
I have not eaten dinner, and it's after 10 o'clock at night, and I'm going to start like gnawing my leg off at the knee, so I'm going to go.
Bye, Keith.
Good to see you guys.
Bye,
Good to see you too. Okay, what's up, Michael? I'm sorry, honey.
No, it's okay. There is a podcast out there called Comic Book Central, and this dude interviews like everybody. One of his more recent episodes you need to track down because he got Treat Williams and James Remar to come on to talk about The Phantom. Which I know is a movie you love.
I do. It's so good.
So I figured if anybody's going to appreciate this interview, it's going to be Denise.
Yes,
The Phantom knows.
Also, I found Steel on HBO Max, so I'm gonna watch Steel. If I don't,
First, let her get through Steel.
Yeah, I don't know how to Facebook Live it, but I will sit there on Facebook and I will sit and post while I watch just for you, Michael.
Well, you know, in exactly 1 week from tomorrow is Rex Manning Day. So I'm just saying, if you're in the Charleston area and you know me, I just don't want random people showing up. Shoot me a message and you should come over because we have Rex Manning Day parties. And we've literally had our friends like, we're doing Rex Manning Day this year, right? And I'm like, hell yeah, we're doing Rex Manning Day. And what we do is we always do a double feature. It's always Empire Records first, and then we watch a movie from the 90s. I almost have the sadistic want to put Steel on as the fall. But everybody would leave. I think even Laura would leave. She would be like, no, I'm going to go sleep at a hotel tonight. You're on your own, buddy.
I honestly think to tie it into Empire Records, you should do Bye Bye Love.
Yeah, but that was 1988, though, wasn't it?
Bye Bye Love? No. Oh, what is the movie? It had Randy Quaid and Matthew Modine and Paul Reiser.
Was that The Book of Love? No.
No.
Now I'm gonna have to.
I don't even know.
Yeah, they were all 3 divorcees, and the kid.
That does not sound like an Empire Records follow-up. But you see, every year we have to pick something.
The guy that was in love with Liv Tyler is in it.
Okay,
so that's my connection to it.
I gotcha. So movies that we've already done, because we try not to repeat movies, is we've done Angus has been one. We did Can't Hardly Wait was another year. The Faculty was a year that we did. What other ones did we do? Crap. Sugar and Spice was a good one.
Okay, I'm right. Bye Bye Love was 1995. What you're thinking is Can't Buy Me Love with McDreamy.
Okay, there we go. Okay, got it. And Gary's still just trying to figure it out.
Okay, Gary, I could end broadcast anytime you would like me to.
Okay, yeah, because I don't think I have.
Joe.
I don't think I have that power.
Okay, well, here.
Start it.
Oh Lord, how funny!
Everybody, we love you guys. We will see you very, very soon.
Bye.